Let's now talk about the other two options in the replication schemes for the storage accounts. That's GRS, Geo Redundant Storage, and Read Access GRS. With the Geo Redundant Storage, you will have your data replicated to a secondary region, which is hundreds of miles away from the primary location of the source data. And for all those good reasons, GRS will cost you more money than LRS. But GRS provides a higher level of durability for your data, even if there is a regional outage. GRS is designed to provide at least 99.169 durability. So if your storage account has GRS enabled, then your data is durable even in the case of complete regional outage or a disaster in which the primary region is not recoverable. For a storage account with GRS or RAGRS enabled, all data is first replicated within the local redundant storage, and then an update is first committed to the primary location and then replicated using LRS. The update is then replicated asynchronously to a secondary region using GRS. When data is written to the secondary location, it is also replicated within that location using LRS. Both the primary and secondary regions manage replicas across separate fault domains and upgrade domains within a storage scale unit. The storage scale unit is the basic replication unit within the data center. The replication within the data center, as we know, is provided by LRS. So if you opt for GRS, you have two related options to choose from. So there is GRS that replicates your data in another data center in a secondary region, but that data is available to be read only if Microsoft initiates a failover from primary to secondary. And then there is RA, which is Read Access Geo-Redundant Storage. And this also replicates your data to another data center in a secondary region and also provides you the option to read from the secondary region. So with RAGRS, you can read from the secondary regardless of whether Microsoft initiates a failover from primary to secondary. Well, there are a few terms we should be aware of as far as the disaster recovery is concerned, the recovery time objective, and the recovery point objective. And we learned about these acronyms in AZ-900 certification, which is the fundamentals of Microsoft Azure. And from that, we know that recovery point objective is till what point you can get the data back up to. Whereas recovery time objective is how much time will you take to restore that data. So in GRS and RAGRS, the storage service, we know that it is asynchronously geo-replicating the data from primary to a secondary location. In the event the primary region becomes unavailable or goes down, you can perform an account failover to the secondary region. When you initiate a failover, recent changes that have not yet been geo-replicated may be lost. The number of minutes of potential data that's lost is recovery point objective. The recovery point objective indicates the point in time to which the data can be recovered. Azure Storage typically has RPO of less than 15 minutes, although there's currently no SLA on how long geo-replication takes. Talking about recovery time objective now. Just to reiterate, the recovery time objective is a measure of how long it takes to perform the failover and get the storage back online and get the business back up and running. The time to perform the failover includes several kind of actions. And that could be the time until the customer initiates the failover of the storage account from the primary to the secondary region. How about the time required by Azure to perform the failover by changing the primary DNS entries to point to the secondary region? So if you enable RAGRS and your primary endpoint for your blob service is, let's say, myaccount.blob.core.windows.net, then your secondary endpoint, which is myaccount-secondary.blob.core.windows.net, will take some time. The access keys for your storage account are the same for both the primary and secondary endpoints. In the next lesson, let's talk about the remaining two replication schemes, which is GZRS, which is Geo Zone Redundant Storage, and the read access part of RAGZRS.